I am sitting on a flight to Portland, Oregon, 30,000 feet above the clouds, and for the first time in 26 years I feel like I can breathe. 3 days ago, I stood in my backyard wearing a paper crown that said King of Letdowns, while my wife, my kids, and 20 other people laughed at me. I grilled their food, took their photos, and smiled like it was all a joke. But it was not a joke. It was the moment I realized I had been invisible my entire life. That night, I booked this one-way ticket. And now, I am never going back. Before I tell you how I became the king of my own life instead of their punching bag, let me know where you are watching from, and if this story sounds familiar, hit that like button and subscribe. Because what happened next changed everything I thought I knew about family loyalty and self-respect. My name is Dallas. I am 50 years old, and up until 3 days ago, I thought I had done everything right. I worked as a software engineer for 28 years at a mid-sized tech company in the suburbs of Atlanta, Georgia. Not glamorous, but stable. I paid the bills. I kept the roof over our heads. I fixed the leaky faucets, mowed the lawn every Saturday, and never once complained when my wife Catherine decided she only wanted to work part-time at a flower shop. 15 hours a week. That was her contribution. I covered the rest. We had been married for 26 years. 2 kids. Lily, 24, worked in marketing and still lived at home because rent was too expensive. Grant, 21, was in his junior year at Georgia State. I paid his tuition. I paid for everything. And I never asked for a thank you. I thought that was what a good husband and father did. You show up. You provide. You sacrifice. And in return, your family loves you. I spent the last month looking forward to my 50th birthday. 50 felt significant. A milestone. I imagined a quiet dinner with Catherine. Maybe the kids would make a toast. Tell me they appreciated everything I had done. I did not need a big party. I just wanted to feel seen, to feel valued. Just once. 2 weeks before my birthday, I mentioned it to Catherine over breakfast. She was scrolling through her phone, barely listening. I said something like, maybe we could do something small, just the 4 of us. She looked up, smiled, that distracted smile she always gave me, and said, do not worry, I will take care of it. I felt a small rush of hope. Maybe she would plan something thoughtful. Maybe this year would be different. A week before the big day, Catherine asked if it was okay to invite some of her friends and a few of Lily's co-workers. She said it would be more fun with a crowd. I agreed. Why not? The more the merrier, right? I told myself it was sweet that she wanted to celebrate with me. I did not realize I was not the one being celebrated. The next day, Catherine told me I needed to pick up the meat and groceries for the barbecue. I thought maybe she was busy with decorations or a cake. I went to the store, spent $200 on steaks, burgers, hot dogs, chicken drinks, chips, everything. I hauled it all home, cleaned the grill, set up the tables in the backyard. Catherine said she had to run errands. Lily was at work. Grant was at school. I did it all alone. The day before my birthday, Catherine told me I should handle the grilling because I was better at it. I took it as a compliment. I did not realize it meant I would be working through my own party. The morning of my 50th birthday, I woke up at 7. Catherine was still asleep next to me. I stared at the ceiling for a while, waiting for her to wake up and say, happy birthday. Waiting for the kids to knock on the door with a card or a hug. Nothing. Silence. I got out of bed, made myself coffee, checked my phone. No texts, no calls. Not even from my brother in Texas. I sat at the kitchen table alone, drinking lukewarm coffee, wondering if maybe they were all planning some kind of surprise. Maybe they were just waiting for the right moment. Catherine came downstairs around 10. She poured herself coffee, glanced at me, and said happy birthday in the same tone you would use to say pass the salt. No hug, no kiss. Just those 2 words. Then she sat down and scrolled through her phone. I asked what time people were coming. She said 2 in the afternoon. I asked if she needed help with anything. She said just make sure the grill is ready. That was it. No warmth, no excitement. I felt something twist in my chest, but I pushed it down. Maybe she was tired. Maybe she was stressed. I told myself to stop being sensitive. Lily and Grant came downstairs around 11. Lily said, happy birthday, Dad, without looking up from her phone. Grant mumbled the same and grabbed a bowl of cereal. Neither of them asked how I was feeling. Neither of them seemed to care that I was turning 50. It felt like any other Saturday. At 2 in the afternoon, people started arriving. I counted 23 guests by the time everyone showed up. Most of them were Catherine's friends from her book club and yoga class. A few were Lily's coworkers. 2 were my old colleagues from work, guys I had not talked to in months. I shook their hands, tried to make conversation, but they drifted away after a few minutes to join the others. I changed into a clean button-up shirt and khakis. I wanted to look nice. It was my birthday after all. Catherine wore a new dress I had never seen before, something floral and fitted. She had done her makeup carefully, her hair curled. She looked beautiful. She looked like she was going to someone else's party. I fired up the grill and started cooking. Burgers first, then hot dogs, then the chicken. People came up to me with requests. Can you make mine well done? Where is the ketchup? Do you have any vegetarian options? I smiled and nodded and flipped patties while everyone else stood around drinking beer and wine, laughing, talking. No one asked how I was doing. No one said thank you. I was the help at my own birthday party. Catherine was across the yard laughing with her friends. I watched her throw her head back, animated and bright. I could not remember the last time she laughed like that with me. Lily was taking selfies with her coworkers, posing with drinks. Grant was on his phone, sitting alone at the picnic table. None of them looked at me. I was a ghost. Around 4 in the afternoon, Catherine clapped her hands together and called for everyone's attention. She had this big smile on her face, the kind of smile that made my stomach tighten. She said, "It is time for the birthday crown." I thought it was going to be one of those silly paper hats, something cute and harmless. I was wrong. Lily walked over, holding something behind her back. She was grinning. Catherine was grinning. Everyone was watching. Lily pulled out a gold glittery paper crown, the kind you make with poster board and markers. Across the front in thick black letters it said, "King of Letdowns." I read it twice. My brain could not process it at first. King of Letdowns. I looked up at Catherine. She was still smiling. I looked at Lily. She was giggling. I looked at the crowd. They were all watching, waiting for my reaction. I forced a laugh. "Very funny, guys," I said. My voice sounded hollow. Catherine stepped forward and placed the crown on my head. Everyone clapped. Some people laughed. I stood there, feeling the weight of it, the stupid glitter shedding onto my shirt. Catherine turned to the crowd and said, "Because, let's face it, he is the king of promising things and never delivering." The laughter got louder. My face burned. Lily chimed in. "Remember when Dad said he would take me to New York for my graduation? Yeah, that never happened." More laughter. Grant, still on his phone, added without looking up, "Or when he promised to teach me to drive stick shift." Still waiting. I tried to explain. I said something about work being busy, about not having enough time, about meaning to do those things. But no one was listening. My words disappeared into the noise. One of Catherine's friends, a woman named Brenda, shouted, "At least he is consistent at being inconsistent." The whole yard erupted in laughter. I stood there with that crown on my head, smiling like an idiot, pretending it was all in good fun. But inside, something cracked. Something fundamental. I realized in that moment that I was not a husband or a father to these people. I was a punchline. The party continued. I kept grilling. People kept eating. Someone asked me to take a group photo. I handed someone my phone, stood behind the grill, still wearing that crown, and smiled for the camera. Catherine insisted on a family photo. She pulled me into the center, flanked by Lily and Grant. Everyone said cheese. I looked at the camera and wondered who the hell I was. The cake came out around 5. I did not even know we had a cake. Catherine must have picked it up. It was plain white frosting, no message. They sang happy birthday in that obligatory, half-hearted way people do when they do not really care. I blew out the candles. I did not make a wish. What was the point? After the cake, I started cleaning up. I carried trash bags around the yard, picking up plates and cups while everyone kept talking and drinking. No one offered to help. Catherine was too busy chatting. Lily and Grant were glued to their screens. I worked alone, just like I had all day. By 7, the guests started leaving. They said, "Thanks for the food. See you later, happy birthday again." I stood by the door and waved. When the last person left, I went back outside to finish cleaning. Catherine and the kids had gone inside to watch TV. I could hear the sound through the window. Laughter. A sitcom. I stood in the kitchen at 8:30 washing dishes by hand, because the dishwasher was full and no one had bothered to run it. The crown was still on the counter where I had tossed it. I picked it up, stared at those words. King of Letdowns. And for the first time in 26 years, I asked myself a question I should have asked a long time ago. What am I doing here? I did not sleep that night. I lay in bed next to Catherine, staring at the ceiling while she snored softly beside me. My mind kept replaying the day. The crown, the laughter, the way no one even noticed I was hurting. I thought about the last 26 years, all the things I had given up, all the sacrifices I had made. When I was younger, I loved photography. I had a decent camera, spent weekends hiking trails and capturing landscapes, but Catherine said it was a waste of money. She said I needed to focus on practical things, so I sold the camera. I stopped hiking. I used to want to travel. I wanted to see the Pacific Northwest, drive down the California coast, maybe visit Alaska. But every time I mentioned it, Catherine said we could not afford it, even though we could. We just spent the money on other things. Things she wanted. The kids needed money for college, for cars, for rent. I gave it without hesitation. But I could not remember the last time either of them said thank you and meant it. I could not remember the last time they asked how I was doing. Catherine lived comfortably because of my paycheck. She worked part-time at a flower shop because she wanted something to do, not because we needed the income. I never complained. I thought I was being a good husband. But she never once told me she appreciated it. She never once looked at me the way she used to when we first got married. At 2 a.m, I got out of bed. I went downstairs, opened my laptop, and searched for flights. I did not know where I wanted to go. I just knew I needed to leave. I scrolled through cities. Denver, Seattle, Portland. Something about Portland caught my attention. Mountains, rain, a place where no one knew me, a place where I could be someone other than the king of letdowns. I clicked on a one-way ticket. Departure in 2 weeks. I stared at the screen for a long time. My finger hovered over the purchase button. I thought about Catherine. I thought about Lily and Grant. I thought about what walking away would mean. And then, I thought about that crown. I thought about standing in my own backyard, being mocked by people who were supposed to love me. I clicked purchase. The confirmation email arrived in my inbox. Flight booked. One way to Portland, Oregon. I felt a strange mix of terror and relief. Over the next 2 weeks, I moved in silence. I went to work every morning like nothing had changed. I came home, ate dinner with the family, watched TV, but inside I was planning my escape. I opened a new bank account online, one in Portland. I transferred half of our joint savings into it. It was my money. I had earned it. I was entitled to it. I contacted a divorce lawyer, explained the situation, started the paperwork. I found a small one-bedroom apartment for rent in Portland, something affordable with a view of the mountains. I registered to work remotely with my company. They had been pushing for more remote positions anyway. They approved it without question. I packed 2 suitcases, with clothes, a few personal items, my laptop, some books. I hid them in the garage under a tarp. No one went in there but me. I wrote a letter. It took me 3 drafts to get it right. I did not want it to sound angry. I did not want to blame anyone. I just wanted to tell the truth. I told them I was leaving. I told them I was tired of being invisible. I told them I had spent 26 years trying to be enough, and I finally realized I would never be enough for people who did not see me. I told them I was not angry. I was just done. I signed the letter, folded it, and put it in an envelope. Catherine did not notice anything. She was too busy with her book club and her yoga friends. Lily was absorbed in her job and her social media. Grant barely looked up from his video games. None of them asked if I was okay. None of them noticed I was pulling away. Maybe they had never really noticed me at all. The night before my flight, I barely slept. I kept checking the time. 3 a.m, 4, 5. At 5:30, I got up, took a shower, got dressed. I grabbed my suitcases from the garage, loaded them into an Uber I had called. I went back inside one last time, placed the letter on the kitchen table right next to that stupid crown. I left the crown there on purpose. I wanted them to see it. I wanted them to remember. I walked out the front door, got into the Uber, and did not look back. At the airport, I checked my bags, went through security, sat at the gate. My phone buzzed. A text from Catherine. "Where are you?" I did not answer. Another buzz. "Lily. Dad, where did you go?" I turned off my phone. When they called my boarding group, I stood up, walked down the jetway, and stepped onto the plane. I found my seat by the window. As the plane took off, I watched Atlanta shrink below me, the city where I had spent my entire adult life, the city where I had lost myself. And for the first time in 26 years, I felt free. I landed in Portland at noon. The air smelled different, clean, wet. It had rained that morning. Everything looked green, and alive. I took another Uber to my new apartment, a small place on the east side of the city. 1-bedroom hardwood floors. Big windows with a view of Mount Hood in the distance. It was not much, but it was mine. I unpacked slowly, hung my clothes in the closet, set up my laptop on the small desk, made the bed. It felt strange to do these things alone, but also strangely peaceful. No one was asking me to fix something. No one was demanding my time. I was just here. The first few days were quiet. I worked from the apartment, attended virtual meetings, met deadlines. My boss did not care where I was as long as the work got done. In the evenings, I walked around the neighborhood. I found a coffee shop on the corner, a small place with local art on the walls. I started going there every morning. On the third day, my phone started blowing up. Catherine called 15 times. I did not answer. She left voicemails. The first ones were angry. How dare you just leave? What am I supposed to tell people? Do you realize how selfish this is? Then they turned desperate. Please call me back. We need to talk. I miss you. Please. I did not respond. On the 7th day, Lily called. I answered. I do not know why. Maybe I wanted to hear her voice. Maybe I wanted to see if she understood. Dad, this is crazy, she said. Her voice was shaking. Mom is a mess. We need you to come home. I sat down on the couch, stared out the window at the mountains. I am not coming back, I said. But you cannot just leave, she said. What about us? What about me? I asked. When was the last time any of you asked what I needed? Silence. Lily, I gave everything I said. I worked every day. I paid for everything. I showed up for every birthday, every school event, every holiday. And what did I get in return? A crown that called me a letdown. She started crying. I did not mean it like that, she said. It was just a joke. It was not a joke to me, I said. It was the truth. You all see me as someone who disappoints you, and I am tired of trying to prove I am not. Grant got on the line. Dad, come on, he said. This is ridiculous. What about family? Family should go both ways, I said. I loved you all with everything I had. But love is not supposed to be one-sided. I cannot keep being the only one who tries. I hung up. 2 weeks after I left, Lily posted on Facebook. I saw it because I still had access to my old account. The post said, if anyone sees my dad Dallas, please tell him we are sorry. We miss him. We were wrong. She included an old family photo, one from 5 years ago. I was in it smiling, holding up a spatula at a barbecue. I looked happy in the photo. I do not remember being happy. The post got dozens of comments. People asking what happened, offering sympathy, saying they hoped I was okay. It felt performative. Lily was not sorry. She was embarrassed. She was scared of what people would think. I did not comment. I did not react. I just closed the app and went for a walk. Portland became home slowly. I learned the streets, found my favorite spots. There was a bookstore on Hawthorne that stayed open late. I spent hours there reading things I had not had time to read in years. There was a hiking trail in Forest Park, miles of trees and quiet. I started going every weekend. I met a guy named Trevor at a photography meetup. He was 53, a painter divorced 3 years earlier. He had a similar story. A wife who stopped seeing him, kids who took him for granted. One day he woke up and realized he was living for everyone except himself. So he left. We became friends. We met for coffee every week, talked about art and life, and starting over. He understood in a way no one else could. I started cooking for myself. Just small meals, nothing fancy. Pasta with vegetables, grilled chicken. Simple things. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed setting the table for one, eating in silence, not having to answer to anyone. The first month was hard. I cried more than I expected. I missed the good moments. I missed Lily when she was little, how she used to climb into my lap and ask me to read her stories. I missed Grant when he was 10, how he used to follow me around the yard asking a million questions. I missed Catherine before we grew apart, back when she used to look at me like I mattered. But I also remembered the bad moments. The years of being taken for granted, the jokes at my expense, the way they all moved through life, assuming I would always be there, always providing, always invisible. I reminded myself over and over, I deserve better. I deserve to be seen. I deserve to be valued. By the second month, I stopped checking Facebook. I stopped caring what they said or did not say. By the third month, I started dating. Nothing serious. Just coffee with a woman I met at the bookstore, dinner with someone from work. It felt strange at first, but also exciting. I had forgotten what it felt like to be wanted to be interesting to someone. By the 4th month, I was smiling more, laughing more. I joined a photography club, started taking pictures again. My first gallery showing was small, just a corner of a local cafe, but people came. People I did not know, looked at my work, and told me it was beautiful. It felt good to be seen for something I created, not just for what I could provide. 6 months after I left, the divorce was finalized. Catherine signed the papers. She did not have a choice. Georgia is a no-fault state. I did not ask for alimony. I did not fight over the house. I just wanted out. She kept the house, the car, most of the furniture. I kept my freedom. My lawyer called to tell me it was done. I hung up the phone and felt nothing. No sadness, no relief, just acceptance. I learned a lot in those 6 months. I learned that loving yourself is not selfish. It is necessary. I spent 26 years living for other people, thinking that was what love meant. But love is not supposed to destroy you. Love is not supposed to make you feel small. I learned that family is not an excuse to be mistreated. You can love someone and still walk away. You can care about people and still protect yourself. Boundaries are not mean. They are healthy. I learned that it is never too late to start over. 50 is not the end. I have 30, maybe 40 more years. I am not going to spend them being someone's afterthought. One evening, I stood on top of Mount Tabor, a small volcanic hill on the east side of Portland. The sun was setting, painting the sky orange and pink. I had my camera with me taking shots for a small exhibit I was putting together. My phone buzzed. A text from Trevor. "Dinner tonight, my treat." I smiled, typed back, "Sure, see you at 7. I looked out over the city, the lights starting to flicker on as dusk settled in. I thought about Atlanta. I thought about Catherine and Lily and Grant. I wondered if they were okay. I hoped they were, but I did not need to know. I was no longer the king of letdowns. I was just Dallas. And that was enough. Sometimes the best gift you can give yourself is permission to walk away. Not in anger, not in revenge, but in quiet understanding that you deserve more than being someone's afterthought. I spent 50 years learning that lesson. I hope you do not have to wait that long. Because life is too short to wear a crown that was meant to mock you. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is take it off, leave it behind, and walk toward the sunrise alone. That is where freedom lives. That is where I found mine. Have you ever felt invisible in your own life? Have you ever stayed somewhere longer than you should have because you were afraid of what leaving would mean? Drop a comment below and share your story. And if this resonated with you, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Thank you for listening. I hope you find your freedom too, wherever it is. Take care of yourselves. You are worth it.